The hospital corridor smelled of disinfectant and rain-soaked clothes as doctors rushed past, their footsteps echoing like distant thunder. On a narrow bed lay a young woman named Alina, her dark hair spread across the pillow, her face pale but peaceful. Machines hummed softly beside her. Just hours earlier she had been pulled from a wrecked car after a brutal accident. And now the man standing outside the glass wall felt his knees weaken with every beep of the monitor. His name was Victor Halle, a powerful CEO known for his sharp decisions and colder heart. But at this moment he felt smaller than he ever had in his life, because the woman lying there was the woman who had loved him for 7 long years, loved him through his silence, his pride, his neglect, and yet the one he had never chosen openly. When the doctor finally approached and said she had survived but suffered severe memory loss, Victor's first reaction was relief, quickly followed by fear he could not name. Days later, Alina opened her eyes to a world she did not recognize. Faces hovered above her, voices called her name, but none of it meant anything. When Victor stepped forward and gently said her name, she looked at him with polite confusion, not love, not recognition, just distant courtesy. He smiled nervously and told himself it would pass, that memory would return, that love would awaken again. But deep down a strange sense of escape whispered to him, because before the accident, Alina had asked him for something he had refused to give: commitment, a future, a name beside his. She had stood in his office that night, eyes full of tears, asking why after 7 years she was still a secret, and he had answered with silence and irritation, telling her love did not need labels. Telling her she was asking too much, she had walked away quietly, and hours later the accident happened. Now fate had erased her pain, and him with it. Alina's recovery was slow. She learned how to walk again, how to laugh again, but when she looked at Victor, there was no warmth. She thanked him when he visited, assumed he was a friend, and Victor played along, telling himself it was better this way, that starting over without pressure was easier. But what he did not expect was how empty her smile felt when it wasn't tea meant for him. Weeks passed and Alina was discharged. Victor arranged everything: a new apartment, nurses, comfort. He visited less, telling himself she needed space. Then one evening he arrived unannounced and found another man in her living room, laughing softly as Alina poured tea, her eyes shining with a light. Victor had never truly earned. The man introduced himself as Julian, a doctor who had helped with her therapy. Victor felt an unfamiliar tightness in his chest, jealousy, fear, loss, emotions. He had always controlled. Alina introduced Victor as a business associate, and the word cut deeper than any insult that night. Victor couldn't sleep. Memories flooded him. Alina waiting for him at midnight dinners. Alina canceling her own dreams to support his. Alina loving him without conditions. While he loved success more suddenly, the amnesia felt like punishment, not relief. Days later, Alina began experiencing headaches, flashes, fragments of memory, a voice arguing, tears. On a glass window, a ring box left unopened. Julian urged her to rest, but Victor panicked, afraid of what she might remember. Afraid she would remember the woman he failed. The day it happened was quiet and cruel. Alina stood in the rain outside Victor's office, building, her head throbbing, memories crashing together like shattered glass. The night she begged him to choose her, the way he turned away, the way her heart broke before the accident even happened. When Victor came out and saw her, soaked and shaking, relief washed over him. But when she looked up, there was recognition. Not love, not warmth, only pain and clarity. She told him she remembered everything, every sacrifice, every humiliation, every promise he never kept. Victor tried to speak, to explain, to apologize, but words failed him. Because regret spoken too late sounds like lies. Alina told him she didn't hate him, and that hurt more than anger. She said the accident erased her memories but not her worth, and that remembering him reminded her why she had needed to forget. She thanked him for helping her recover, then handed him a small box he had once given her, unopened, the ring inside untouched. Victor's world collapsed in silence. Weeks later, Alina left the city with Julian, not as a lover, but as a man who respected her healing. Victor watched her go from a distance, realizing too late that the woman who loved him most had loved him without conditions, and he had repaid her with delay and doubt. Success returned to his life. Money flowed, power remained, but something was permanently missing. Sometimes the cruelest regret is not losing someone, but realizing they were everything when it no longer matters. And sometimes amnesia does not erase love, it reveals its true value. If this story touched your heart, remember to subscribe for more emotional stories of love loss and the truths we learned too late.